This week on the Digital Coffee, Twitter is working on business profiles. Naughty Facebook groups are going to get demoted, and Instagram is stealing Clubhouse. No surprises there then. All that and more after this. Good morning, and welcome to the Digital Coffee. This is your weekly dose of digital marketing and social media news for small business. My name is Amanda Webb, and I have a sad, empty mug in my hand. And that's because I haven't had my coffee yet. And it's also, come here, I'm not really here. No. I'm on a Zoom call right now teaching people how to use videos. So this is actually a time traveling episode from yesterday, from Thursday. But I've got all the same news. Everything else works exactly the same. So if you're on Facebook and you leave me a comment, let me know what is in your mug. What are you sipping today? Or if you want to answer my question of the week, which is, what's stopping you from using TikTok? If you leave a comment, I will send you a copy of the Digital Coffee newspaper, which means you'll be able to review all these stories, click all the links, do some additional reading, all in your own time. Unfortunately, because I'm time traveling, I'm not able to answer your questions live, but do leave your comments because as soon as I finish teaching people, I'm going to be straight here. I'm going to straight here to see what you said. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get on with the news.
Hi, I'm Carmel Siri, and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
At the moment, there is absolutely no difference between a standard personal profile on Twitter and a business profile on Twitter. It is the same thing. There is just one profile type. But that's going to change because Twitter are working on business profiles. And this is just a screenshot of what they're thinking about using. They're actually soliciting some feedback from some select business users to see what they would like. Now, the main thing, and probably the most exciting thing for us as businesses, is business accounts will be verified. You will be a verified business. You will get your blue tick. Yes. Some other new features that they're adding is category. So you'll be able to identify what category your business falls into. Your link will be higher up or more prominent, maybe is the term, on the profile. And also you'll be able to add a section underneath with your about information, which will include things like opening hours. It will include things like directions and contact information. Now, Twitter is, as I said, they're soliciting some feedback from Twitter users to see what else they would like or what they would value in the profile. So they're talking maybe in that about section, adding things like customer reviews, maybe a showcase of content, a showcase of tweets, a showcase of products. And this is really exciting. I think this is the biggest thing Twitter have done for business, ever. I do think it's going to be great that we'll be able to showcase our profiles this way, but also I have a nagging worry. That actually once they've implemented this, we'll be going, hello, I'm a business, and in the future we may see some sort of algorithm pullback that people maybe won't want to see as many tweets from us, or that's what they imagine, much like we have seen on Facebook. Now, Twitter, I've always called the Twitter algorithm the algorithm light. I don't think it's not that horrible thing that we see on Facebook, but it is going to be interesting to see, will business pages have a different reach to personal pages? That wouldn't stop me using it, to be honest. I think having a verified business makes you look trustworthy. Following the rules of the platform makes you look trustworthy and means that you will get more followers, or more customers, more importantly. The other thing is, of course, some business owners, I wonder, is my account a business account or is it a personal account? Because I could be tweeting about what I'm doing today, or I could be tweeting some really useful information. So in our own heads, we're going to need to make the distinction about whether we are actually a business profile or whether we're a personal profile.
I'm Ian Undersegray, and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Facebook is going to start demoting groups in recommend who break community guidelines constantly. So this is a problem. Obviously, they've had a lot of issues with misinformation. There's been they've been in a lot of trouble for a long time over this stuff. And I think during the pandemic, even more so, they've been highlighted as somewhere that shares misinformation about the virus, about vaccines, and other stuff. So they are dealing with this. And one of the ways they deal with this is if you just have simply one post in your group that breaks community guidelines, you're fine. You'll get a warning maybe about that. But if it happens on a consistent basis, they're going to do some stuff to punish you, to punish your group. And the first thing is that you won't appear in recommend. So this is where people will find new groups that they want to join. And I'm just thinking, if I'm in a group about ban the vaccine, algorithmically, obviously, I'm more likely to be shown other groups that are about ban the vaccine, and then we end up in this bubble, don't we, of just being in groups around the one core belief that we may have. So I can see why they may want to do that, and also why they may not want to spread misinformation. So that makes sense. It means that groups like that will get less reach. They'll gain less members. People will still be able to invite people, people will still get notifications, but it just means that it will be less attractive to new people. The second thing that's going to happen, and this is more interesting, is if you go to join a group that consistently breaks community guidelines, and I'm actually going to outline some things that you may not realize are part of community guidelines, things that you might be breaking in a minute. People who go to join will get this warning. You're about to join a group that breaks the rules. Do you want to do that? So I'm imagining if I want to go and join a group, and I'm pretty sure that, it's something that's of interest to me, I will join anyway, but that's really interesting. And the next thing that will happen is people will see less notifications about the group once they have joined. So that's the second strike. The third strike, we don't know how many rules you have to break or how big a rule you have to break to get this. Your group will just be taken away. It'll be gone. So this is an interesting way. I do think this is where the algorithm serves Facebook well, because they need to stop this misinformation getting out there, because they are in the firing line for this stuff. So by using their algorithm, they can penalize this content, and they can ensure that Facebook becomes a more safe space. But what's interesting is I'm talking about misinformation, stuff that around the pandemic maybe and around politics, but there's other stuff in community guidelines that might surprise you. So against community guidelines, here are three things. One, posting clickbait. Now, we knew this was an issue with reach on pages, but clickbait is when you might hype up a headline or hype up a description of a link, and when people click through, it's not really what they expected when they get there. And Facebook can identify clickbait by the language that you use. Their AI will pick that out, but it can also identify it because people may skip over, and when it's not what they expected, they skip back really quickly. The second one is engagement bait, and this is when you ask people to like or comment or share. So using that sort of language in your posts. We know this for pages, but this, as far as I know, isn't something we've looked at for groups before. So things like, like this post if, or anything that is designed to get artificial engagement is what they would define it as. But we know that posts that say things like, comment, share could get demoted in the feed, and also you can't advertise them. Not that that matters for groups. Now, the third one is the one that was really surprising to me. Content that promotes contests or giveaways. So we know there have been for many years, I used to write about this a lot on my blog, some quite strict restrictions around the competitions that you could run on Facebook. But now it seems that their community guidelines are saying you can't actually run them at all. Because people, and this is the weird thing, people don't like them. People complain about them. Now, I'm pretty sure that those three things aren't going to get you the level of banning, depending how much you use them and how spammily you use them, that misinformation about and politics will get you. But it is really interesting to have a look at those guidelines if you feel you're getting less reach on Facebook in general, but particularly in your group. Let's move on.
Hi, I'm Charlie Lawrence, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Clubhouse, the audio only app where you can go and have conversations, just voice conversations with other people live, no recording, is huge, right? It's exploded, well, at least in my marketing world over the last few months, and almost instantly. In fact, even before it was exploding, Twitter were working on their version of Clubhouse, which is called Audio Spaces. Now it seems that Instagram are going to launch audio rooms. This is the vaguest of a hint, I warn you, but we have heard that Facebook were working on it. And of course, Instagram would seem like the perfect home for a tool like this. And the thing that has signaled that this may possibly happen is this screenshot from Alex193A that was shared by Matt Navarra that shows a microphone. It's pretty vague, I have to say. I went through it a few times to decide whether I would even mention this, but there's a microphone at the top of your messenger box, which means you could facilitate audio conversations as well as video conversations. It's a hint. It disappeared shortly after he had this. So this is obviously something that Instagram are working on, but they're not ready to launch to the public yet. But I do think something like this, audio rooms, because that's what they call conversations pretty much on Instagram, could be a really effective way to get audio onto the Facebook suite of tools. Wouldn't it work better in WhatsApp? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? I think audio, we're going to see this big fire. I mean, we've had everyone stealing TikTok and putting it all over their networks. That has happened. The next big thing seems to be audio. And it's almost like the social networks aren't even waiting to see if something's successful anymore. They're just adapting really fast. And I think there's a lesson there for our businesses as well, that we need to adapt to changes. We can't just look and go, oh yeah, look, that's happened. Well, I'm going to keep doing business as usual. We need to look at these things and decide whether they are worth us pursuing and whether they are worth us adapting to. I got access to Twitter Spaces this week, by the way. So if anyone wants to have a chat, let me know.
Hi, I'm Catherine Mason, and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Twitter Audio Spaces are Twitter's version of Clubhouse. And actually, I've been quite excited about this because it's part of an app that I already use. You know, it's like when Instagram launched stories, I didn't have to go to Snapchat to do stories anymore. I could do it in an app that I was already using. And now these spaces are taking off. They've been in beta for quite a while. You will be able to, no matter who you are, whether you're iPhone or Android, she fiddles with a necklace, whether you're iPhone or Android, you can actually join conversations in Twitter Spaces. So if you haven't seen that, when you go into Twitter, you'll see the circles at the top for fleets, for stories. And if they're purple, that means somebody has opened an audio space and you can go and join in and have a conversation with those people. So anyone can do that, only on mobile, but not many people have access to actually host spaces. For some bizarre reason, I got that option yesterday when people who are a lot heavier Twitter users than me haven't, but I'm delighted that I've got it. I just need to think of a topic to talk about in audio spaces. And it seems now that actually all of you, every last single one of you is going to get access to this, according to Twitter, by the end of April. So this brings two dilemmas. Number one, at the moment, I'm researching Twitter Spaces for a blog post I have to write for Agora Pulse. And there's not enough spaces going on. So it's not something I can just go and jump into a conversation because it's really reliant on who I follow already. So that makes it hard. There's not enough content. But once everyone has it, will there be too much content? And also, because I can't see what the space is about before I click into it, I can just see the people that are involved. How do I choose which one to go into? You have to actually click on the space. It opens up a box, then it will tell you what the Twitter space is about before you join. And that is cumbersome. So I can see Twitter maybe integrating this into a tab or a page that you're able to access to see which ones you want to join once they roll this out fully. What would you use Twitter spaces for? That is my big question.
Hi, I'm Catherine Mason, and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
One of the downsides of stories, apparently, if you've got a lot of followers and if you're really popular, is you get a lot of direct messages. And I think this is particularly annoying for businesses on Instagram, because Instagram sends you a message, then Facebook for some reason seems to send you two messages to tell you you've got a message. It is just nightmare stuff. But I actually don't think that's a bad thing. Well, I don't like all the notifications, but I do like the fact that when anyone engages with my stories, that I get a direct message, because this brings people into a private conversation with me. You can have a chat, you can get to know your audience a little bit better. And I think that is the real beauty of stories. But this week, Twitter is dealing with the issue of maybe too many direct messages. And it is now giving people who use Fleets the option to switch off allowing direct messages in reply to a story. Now, I'm not sure I like this, because Fleets are really limited in what you can do at the moment. They don't have the range of stickers that you have on Instagram that encourage engagement. So one, are you really getting that much engagement? And number two, is this not just broadcasting? You're not allowing anyone to reply to you. I could understand if it was like the reply controls we have on Twitter, where you can choose who you want to reply to your stories. But in this case, I'm not sure it's so good. Although I'm sure if you've got 1 million followers and you're very popular, you'll be delighted that you're not getting as many direct messages.
Hey, it's Andy at Content Cal here, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Now, we know that Instagram is testing sharing reels from Instagram to Facebook in India currently. So the same content will be posted to Instagram like stories and go over to Facebook. But this week, we've had the first hint that you may actually be able to create reels, not just on Facebook, but as part of your Facebook business page. This is exciting. This was spotted, again, shared by Matt Navarra. And you can see, if you look closely, I'm looking closely right now, that underneath the button, there are the usual options you would have for your Facebook page: post, promote, view as. But there's also a button for Reels. This suggests that this isn't just something you'll be able to share from Instagram. It's actually going to be a core function of your business pages. These short form videos, we know that Facebook has been working on a tool for this. But is it actually just going to be like Reels on Instagram? This is exciting. This is interesting. It means that businesses who are Facebook centric, whose main audience still live on Facebook, will be able to utilize this amazing tool, because I think short form video content is an amazing tool. So that's good news. The bad news is that means you have to make that decision. Are you going to use Reels? And that's going back to my question of the week, which is, what's stopping you using TikTok? Creating short videos on a regular basis is hassle, particularly if you don't love creating video. So before you jump on Reels, before you jump on TikTok, before you jump on any short form video platform, you need to decide, is this something you want to do? Is this something you can do consistently? Is it going to work for your target market? Will you do it well? And if the answer to all those is yes, then give it a shot. If the answer to some of those is no, you can leave it for a little while. I'm not telling you to forget it altogether, but you can leave it for a little while.
Hi, I'm Kyra Fingleton from Glamping Under the Stars, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Managing messages is a consistent struggle for small businesses, isn't it? Because you've got all these different places that your messages come in, and then trying to remember where they came from, responding in good time, because it can take you a bit of time to get round to it, or remember, oh yes, there was a message there on TikTok and yesterday, and have I responded to that? Or on LinkedIn, or was it Facebook or Instagram, or was it in my emails, or was it on Slack or WhatsApp or Discord or Telegram or Signal? Yeah, it's hard to manage. And some social networks, Facebook and Instagram I'm thinking of, and I know LinkedIn have added something similar, are giving you easy ways to respond to customers immediately. And TikTok has only gone and stolen them. If you're a business TikTok user, you will find under your business settings, under message settings, the option to add a welcome message. So this will be sent to anyone that messages you to welcome them to your chat experience, maybe give them a bit of information when you're going to be open, when you respond to messages, who you are. And the second option is really interesting. This is a keyword trigger. So when somebody messages you a keyword, it can trigger a specific message. So you could have a whole lot of specific messages set up that you send to people when they message you that keyword. So it could be coffee, and it could be if somebody messages coffee, they get a copy of the Digital Coffee newspaper. The most exciting thing about this, I think, for me, is that does this spell a future where we be able to integrate bots like many chat bots into this and maybe serve like a quiz process or something more engaging to people? It's going to be really interesting to see how that develops. It's also really interesting to see TikTok stealing features from other social networks, isn't it? Well, that is it. I did record this live, no editing. So when I rambled on earlier, I didn't edit it out. This was just like the live show. So I hope you're enjoying a cup of tea and coffee. I will be into your comments later to have a chat. If you're watching on YouTube, do leave a comment, because if enough of you watch on YouTube, I may remember to go and put the link to how you get the Digital Coffee newspaper by email there. Somebody remind me of that, will you? Remind me. I need to do that. And I will be back for another pre-recorded show, because I'm teaching the second part of that video course next week. Same bat time, same bat place next week. I'll see you then.